Today, market depreciation. This is number 2 in a series of videos about automating depreciated cost with the Solomon Appraisal calculators. In part 1, we covered the basics of depreciated cost. We looked at our first application, Solomon Adjustment, which is a fast way to develop adjustments when you know remaining economic life. We showed how knowing remaining economic life is the same as knowing depreciation. But what if we don't know depreciation? In cases like this, it is more credible to estimate market value. With an estimate of market value, we can solve for depreciation in the cost approach. By estimating market value, are we falling into the logical fallacy of circular reasoning? No, what we are doing is applying the scientific method of observation and then forming a hypothesis. By the time you have viewed the property and located the best comparables, you are beyond the observation stage and ready to form a hypothesis. We will test it later when we use the adjustments in the grid and fine-tune it if necessary. So, let's work through an example with a market value estimate of $250,000. Enter your estimate of site value. Next, enter the as-is value of site improvements. Here I include the market value after depreciation of site improvements like the driveway, swimming pool, patio, sport court, well and septic, retaining walls, fences, etc. Enter the zip code where the subject is located, the quality rating using the UID system with 1 being highest and 6 being lowest, GLA, click yes if all GLA is heated and cooled. If not, enter the heated square feet and central air square feet, if any. Next is the basement square footage, basement finish, basement full bath count, basement half bath count, fireplace count, deck square feet, and porch square feet. Last, we need the square footage of the garage. There are complete instructions for each of these fields in the user manual starting on page 5. When we click Calculate, all of the building characteristics will be converted into cost and appear in the market depreciation calculator, which is laid out just like the cost approach on page 3 of your 1004. Each of these numbers can be used in your report. On page 1, use the economic age number for effective age. Here is the opinion of site value, as is value of site improvements, the dwelling number, the basement number, additional features, and garage. On the bottom right, we have default adjustments for each cost category. These adjustments assume that depreciation occurs equally throughout the building and that each category has the same economic life. Now, we would probably agree that a deck has less than the 60-year life of the building as a whole. If 30 years sounds more typical for a deck, enter 50 in the percent of economic life field. 30 years is 50% of the 60-year lifespan of the building as a whole. I do the same for open porch and screen porch. Your market may differ. Another way I use this feature is to reflect the diminishing returns of something like a fireplace. I use 50 in the fireplace field so that I will have an adjustment for a second fireplace. Click Calibrate and I will show you what I mean. Here's the first fireplace and here's the second. In my market, I do the same thing in the bath categories because a bath has different value depending on where it is located in the house. In the basement, it is generally worth half. GLA is an interesting category to calibrate because this is where you will see market reaction to things like decorating, which may have only a 10-year shelf life before it becomes dated. Carpet and paint lasts about 10 years. A roof may have a 25-year life. Siding and windows maybe 40. I use a percent of economic life number of 64. This number is the result of a survey of appraisers who use the software. Now I have 2 options when I get to the grid. The number that results in the narrower range of adjusted sold values makes more sense. Solomon Cost is designed for residential assignments where there is depreciation. Our third application, Solomon Cost New, is designed for new construction where there is no depreciation. Check out Part 3 for more on Solomon Cost New. I'm Scott Cullen from the Solomon Appraisal Calculators, where we are developing new ways to help residential appraisers save time and write more credible reports.